Yeah, we're live, you know. So I want to welcome you again to Let's Reason Together with Bruno Oekina. The last time we talked about purpose, that's where we ended the discussion. We are saying that if you want to start up a business or you want to start up a relationship or you want to start your life, don't just look at the money, don't look at the benefit, don't let those things drive you. But you should allow purpose, let purpose drive you. And I even went ahead to define purpose as anything that adds value to people and also something that glorifies God. Purpose is not just purpose just by adding value. It has to also glorify God. So we're going to take it off from there. A lot of people ask questions offline, which I think I answered them and offline too. But today I want to encourage people to ask questions. When you ask questions, it makes it easy for me to touch one or two other things. I don't want to adopt the style of just talking. Most of the things that I talk here are not things that I read in a book, These are things that has to do with my experiences in life, my testimony, things that is making me to succeed in my business, in my life, and in my relationship. So while I'm waiting for people out there to ask their questions, I also want my in-house audience, to ask one or two questions based on what we discussed, the last time, and how to take it off from there. Does anybody have any question?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe you can raise your voice so that we can also hear you. Okay. I can see some people are already online. I can see Mary, Olubomi Mary. I can see Afolabi, Adejaye. You're welcome. Thank you. Can tell your friends. I can assure you, you must take something home. You're going to learn one or two things from our discussion today. So let's hear your question.
Okay. The last time we discussed, it was all about purpose.
Right. We talk about purpose.
Assuming now I discovered purpose.
Okay, you've discovered your purpose.
I've discovered my purpose.
Okay.
What will be the next thing?
Okay, so the question is that assuming he has discovered his purpose, so what is the next step? Okay, let's say for instance, you want to set up a barbing salon, right?
Yeah.
And your purpose for setting a barbing salon, like based on the discussion we had the next time, is not just because you want to make money. Or because you want to, so that people can know that you are a good, skillful barber. No, that shouldn't be purpose, But your purpose is, let's say for instance, you want to be a role model to barbers. You want to raise barbers, who will enjoy what they are doing. People who will be proud of their skills, and people who can also contribute to their community. So that's the purpose. So that's what you were set out to do, So that's purpose, a good purpose, because that one, you are going to add value to people, and at the same time, it will glorify your maker. So you define the purpose. Then the next stage, how do you take it off from here? Take it off from there. You see, once you have discovered purpose, the next thing you do is to see how you can package the purpose. Purpose really is branding. Purpose is really branding. Purpose gives you what I called a direction. It gives you a direction. It gives you a destination where you are heading to. Do you understand? It's purpose that actually drives you. Purpose should drive your business. Purpose should drive your relationship. Purpose should drive your life. Now, if you have discovered purpose, which is actually the branding, which is the content, of your offering, of what you're doing, then the next thing is to see how you can package it, how you can market it, and how you can advertise it. I always ask people, you want to advertise something, you want to package something. What are you packaging? If the content is not what will be acceptable to people. It's not something that will add value and glorify God. What are you packaging? So that's where we started from, based on our last discussion. Now today, we want to take it further. We've discovered purpose. So how do we take it to the next level? The next level, the first thing I have to do is, how do you package it? Packaging has to do with, you have to know, give it an identity, create an identity for it. You have to have a logo. You have to have a color scheme, that will kind of show, the content, the purpose, that people will see, that relates to the purpose, that relates to what you want to push out there. You have to look for the right words, communication that you can use to communicate purpose. Do you understand? Because if you are not able to communicate your intention, that one is a different. Is another. How will I put it? It can be very difficult, because if people don't understand you, if they don't understand your message, they don't understand what you are saying, so they won't be able to buy into your purpose. Do you understand? So you should be able to communicate it. So packaging has to do with the logo, the color scheme, has to do with your communication, So all these ones makes up the packaging. Do you understand? The packaging has to do with the outlook of your purpose. It has to do with the way you present it to your target audience, to your target market. Then once you have packaged it, then you now come up with what I call marketing strategies. How do you locate the purpose? Where do you want to be located? Where do you want to be situated? Are you following what I'm saying? Like for instance, Bruno's Place, we are in the mall. I have a reason why I'm in the mall. And we're not just in the mall. We are beside Silverbird Cinema. So there's a reason why I'm beside Silverbird Cinema. Do you understand? And Bruno's Place has a logo. You can see what I'm wearing. You can see this is packaging. This is packaging. You have my logo. It's an identity. Anywhere you see this logo, is a representation of Bruno's Place. So we are located very close to the cinema. We have a reason why we're there. So all these packaging and marketing strategy. Do you understand? Then after you have done that, then the next thing is to advertise it. When you're advertising, that is when you either you use social media to let people know what you're doing, or social media is very cheap now. It's cheap. It's cheaper. Not that it's very cheap, but it's cheaper than every other medium. You can use TV. TV is very expensive. You can use radio. You can get blogger to talk about you. Do you understand? You can get blogger to write about you. But then the question now is, what will make bloggers to write about you? If you go on TV, for instance, what are you going to be telling people that will make them to patronize you? So those are the things you now start asking yourself. That's why I always tell people it's good for you to have a story. That will now bring me to a particular scripture. I always like to use a scripture, that I like, is in Revelation 12:11. He said, they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of the testimony. The blood of the Lamb is a constant factor, But let's look at the word of their testimony. It's a word of their testimony. Testimony has to do with your it said testimony comes from test, the word test. When you have overcome tests, you have testimonies, So in actual sense, a testimony is your what you make out of your experiences in life. Let me give, like I tell people, testimony. Another word for testimony is actually your story, your personal story. Every brand has a story. Whether individual brand or corporate brand, they have a story, right? So it's your story that is your testimony. Then what is your story? Your story is not what happened to you. It is what you make out of what happened to you. For instance, I was asked to resign from the bank. That is what happened to me. There were some of my colleagues that were asked to resign too. But some died because they couldn't handle the shock. That is what happened to them. That's not the kind of story I'm talking about. Your story is what you make out of what happened to you. I was asked to resign, but today I am giving jobs to people. So that's my story. I overcame, what happened to me. People always want to associate with somebody who is an overcomer, somebody who is successful. Do you understand? You see, I lost my job, but today I'm giving out jobs. I used to work in a bank, but today I'm a hairstylist. And my testimony is sweet, because I took something that is ordinary. I'm making it extraordinary. Who would have thought that a barbing salon can survive in a mall? Do you understand? A barbing salon, to be in the mall. So that's a testimony. And you notice that in all my communication, what I put there is a banker turned hairstylist, a banker turned hairstylist, so that people will know that this business, there's a story behind it. This guy is coming from somewhere, and is also going somewhere. So it's actually people, like I tell people, I always like to say that people don't buy what you're selling. They buy you first. They buy into your story. There's the people are emotionally connected with your story. If you look at people that are successful, go and find out they have a story. Every brand tells a story. I don't want to be mentioning brand, mentioning their names, because this platform is not for advertisement for now. Maybe in the future, I can be talking about particular brands that I use to buttress my points.